The FIA Formula One World Championship is back and it is time for qualifying here this afternoon. We race around the 4 kilometre circuit of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix and it is going to be good. It is 4.90 kilometres, 4.909 kilometres, 3 miles, 63 laps. When it comes to the race, there's 34 metres in elevation, top speed of 306.3 kilometres an hour. It is the most elevated circuit you could possibly get on the calendar. There are 3 compounds of tyres here, C6, C5 and C4. Not much of the hard compound running, and it's probably because of the chance of it being a 2-stop in the race. But it is now time for qualifying. Who will get pole and who won't? My prediction, I reckon, it will be, I feel McLaren still have pace in them heading into this round. It's going to be tight. The margins are going to be even tighter. Track temp at the moment, it has gone down 8 degrees since FP3. It's 41 degrees now, 105 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, it is quite hot out there. Wouldn't like to be in the grandstands in the sun right now, but the hills are packed. Practically everywhere that's a good vantage point is packed. I can tell you that much. Everywhere that has a possible good vantage point is packed around this circuit. Lando Norris, he has an absolute perfect chance to get pole. Anybody can get the pole at this point. But I reckon it will be Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen, I reckon he's just had that bit more pace. He just shown his pure pace in FP3. And I know he wasn't quick in FP1 and FP2. But that doesn't mean anything. That genuinely doesn't. Showing by the pace he had in FP3, I reckon he'll be there. He'll be somewhat there. The other person that might be there is Isaac Hadjar. Isaac Hadjar will be, I reckon, inside the top 10. I reckon Isaac Hadjar has a good chance to get inside the top 10. Not so much for Yuki Tsunoda though. He's been there or thereabouts, but in FP3 he said he was very much struggling with the overall performance of that car. So this just has to fall into someone's hands. This race, whose hands will it fall into? Let's wait and find out. But I reckon Verstappen will take pole. Pole position, I reckon will go to Max Verstappen here. He seems to just have pace. He shot it in FP3 and the upgrades. Took him a while to get used to them in FP1 and FP2. But FP3, he absolutely got used to them. 75 years ago this week, Giuseppe Farina won the first F1 race around the Emilia Romagna circuit. 75 years and 1 week ago, it was the first Imola race. So we've been racing around here for nearly 70 years. The old Emilia Romagna Grand Prix circuit is about to put on an epic show for every single Ferrari fan. I think I see more Ferrari fans than what I see grass. I cannot see a tad bit of grass out there at the moment. It is insane. I could not see a single speck of grass out there. Wow. Okay, so that's how packed the grandstands are for this qualifying session. Grandstand's very much packed here, but this is going to be important. Will Ferrari get a chance to get a pole position? Will Ferrari get a chance to get a pole position here? Who knows? Who really knows at this point? There's Isaac Hadjar. Waiting patiently, ever so patiently, to get going here. Lando Norris as well. Also waiting. waiting for that moment to head out of the pit lane here and get some track position. That's going to be the biggest talking point of this session. It's going to be the track position, and if you can put yourself in a good position to get a lap done, it could go in your favor. It could end well, or it could end bad. I to be honest, have absolutely no idea. If you can get track position, you should be good for a lap, because we've seen so far people, especially the young rookies, Franco Colapinto, Isaac Hadja, all those sorts of people have been impeding all the quick drivers and haven't been able to get a lap. You can see there Lewis Hamilton, he went out later than everybody else to try and get a clear bit of track, and so did Leclerc. So both the Ferrari drivers trying to get a bit of clear air. Of course, the C6 compound, the softest compound of Pirelli, made its debut here this year for 2025. It's the first time that we've seen the C6 compound this year. And of course, it's going to be with us for the European Tour of Monaco and Spain for the next 2 weeks, the C6 compound. And then, of course, we're back to the C3 compound of course, then we're back to the C5 compound next. When it comes to, I think it's, I'm not sure what circuit it is after Canada, but back to the C5 compound, which is still quite a softer tyre. And you'll see if, because the tyres are a much softer sort of rubber, so they'll degrade a lot easier. So you'll see a lot more of the track marbling up throughout the race. So yeah, that's one important factor here. It's going to be a bit of a happy hour, because we all know qualifying is an interesting status. The two Kick Saubers have set a lap time down. That is of Bortoleto, who's done a 16.6. Behrman's done a 16.9. Hulkenberg 17.0. Ocon 17.0. So not a bad few laps from everybody out there, from Bortoleto, Behrman, Hulkenberg, and Ocon. See what Hamilton can do in this second sector. It is 3/10 up on what Bortoleto did in the second sector. So the lap time of Bortoleto at the moment is standing. Fernando Alonso 1:16.238. Of course, we saw a 14.8 in FP3 a bit early on, about 2 hours ago. So there's still plenty more track improvement. Ferrari fans are clapping. What does Hamilton do? P2. It's P2. It's a 1:16.58. 1:16.558 from Lewis Hamilton. Alexander Albon is improving on this lap. What's this lap going to be? It's P1, 16.164 from Alexander Albon. What does Leclerc do? The other Ferrari driver. It's personal best the first and second sector. It's not as quick on this lap. Maybe being held up here. But at this point, it looks to be about P5, if anything. PB. Sector 1 and Sector 2. We'll see what this can do. Where does this put him? P5. That lap is not going to put you into Q2 there. It's a 16.4, but Alex Albon is at the top of the moment, 1:16.1. The two McLarens have just made their way out onto the pit. Just made their way out. Piastri still in the pit lane. Hadjar, Lawson, Gasly, and Colapinto. Here, now the Williams have been... I heard an interview earlier. Both Williams' car have been struggling to turn on their soft tyres, which that is no surprise. But Max Verstappen out on the circuit here. This is an important lap for Max Verstappen if he wants to try and get pole as he makes his way into turn 5, turn 6, and then entering your way up into turn 7. He's nearly 2/10 up on this lap on Alexander Albon. It's going to be the first 15 of qualifying. At this point, it's on to a 15.8, I reckon. I reckon this lap will be a 15.8 or a 15.7. If anything, the yellow flag. Oh! Yuki Tsunoda in the fence. Yuki Tsunoda in the fence, and in the fence hard. Big crash from Yuki Tsunoda. And that car is destroyed. Yuki Tsunoda. That car has had a big hit with the wall. And that is through turn 4 and turn 5. That car is actually... Oh my god. It's ripped all 4 corners of the car. Wow. I think that's through turn 4 or turn 5. It's either turn 4 or turn 5. Yuki Tsunoda, big crash. Big crash. Now, Verstappen was on a lap. Norris and Piastri were also on a lap as well. The people that haven't set a lap might be in a bit of danger. Of course, the clock stops, so you're fine, but Verstappen was on a lap that was going to improve. All 4 corners of Yuki Tsunoda's car is gone. All 4 corners. So, let's see what happened here. The Red Bull, this is through... Oh my... Oh. Is that car flipped? That car's flipped. Yuki Tsunoda, big crash. That car has flipped as it's hit the wall. It's actually... That's at high speed. Oh, that car has done... It's rotated fully. That car is not going to make it out. Big incident for Yuki Tsunoda. So that's through... I think that's through the first chicane. The medical car immediately there. Now that's through the first chicane. Yuki Tsunoda has had a big accident to the point where that car's flipped. Christian Horner thinking about that. That is a hefty crash. Catch your breath after that one. That car is not going to be repaired. I can tell you that much. It's actually probably going to have to be a bit of cleanup down there at the first chicane. But that is a big crash. All 4 corners of that car, there's gonna be structural damage to that car. There's already suspension damage, structural damage. It's all 4 corners of that car are absolutely destroyed. The Red Bull team will be looking at the damage over the video and thinking, oh god, all 4 corners have to be fixed. Here now, this is going to be quite a long wait. In terms of qualifying head-to-head, it's 3-3 between both McLaren drivers of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. In terms of Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman. Ollie Behrman actually seems to have a better chance here this weekend to get into Q2 or even Q3 because it just seems stronger at this point. Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz are both really good in qualifying as well, showing that from the data. 3-3 in qualifying head-to-head. Max Verstappen watching on. And that is qualifying head-to-head between Max Verstappen and Yuki Tsunoda. It's 6-0, so not looking good for Yuki Tsunoda, who's just ended up in the wall down there at turn 2 in a big way. So that's not good at all. See Ferrari fans waving. This is probably going to be quite a long cleanup here because of the structural damage to the barrier, and making sure everything else is okay. out there because that was a big hit. Now, the approach speed to that corner is, I'm going to say about 260 kilometers an hour, but all four corners of that car are gone. There's absolutely no going back after that. Now, it didn't even seem like the gravel... was there gravel? I'm not really sure. But it didn't seem like the gravel slowed him down, if there was any. I think it was just grass, but the barrier definitely absorbed some of that impact, which is why those barriers are in place for that sort of thing. But a big crash from Yuki Tsunoda. Now, I'm going to guess he was trying to find more pace out of that car. Of course, this kicks out with 600 Grand Prix start this weekend under all previous team names. So that's a good milestone when it comes to tomorrow. It comes to Sunday Grand Prix. But the approach speed to that corner is around 270 kilometers an hour. You end up, there's a certain braking marker for that. You're braking into that corner and it's quite high speed, but for Yuki Tsunoda, he's hopped out of that car and red flag to this session for the moment. But Alex Albon, if this session kept going and the timer didn't pause, then he would quite possibly be into Q2 here, but good for everybody else. The time stops and there's no worry about that for not getting a time in, but the only problem is that you've, at this point, wasted a set of tyres. For Max Verstappen, that will be a problem. That will definitely be a problem for Max Verstappen when it comes to doing another lap on those tyres. Kimi Antonelli, he took the sprint pole in Miami, the youngest driver to start from pole in any F1 format history. So, youngest driver to take pole in the F1 sprint format. Of course, we haven't had that format along with us for a while. It's been 6 years that we've had this format go along for, but still, that's a big crash from Yuki Tsunoda. But for people that were halfway through a lap, that included George Russell and Max Verstappen, those tyres will now be, they'll have taken about 50% of the energy out of them because we know how energy consumed these soft compound tyres are and how quickly they overheat from traction, trying to get the traction down off the corner, and how quickly they overheat. They overheat quite quickly, so that's the one problem there. But you can see the barrier marks that have taken place there. As we take a look at the replay, this is why we're on a red flag. A big crash from Yuki Tsunoda. He's coming through turn 1. He's actually just got out the dirt. Car bottomed out over the curb, lost control in the rear end, and all 4 corners of that car gone, flipped over the barrier, and was lucky actually not to go over the catch fencing as well. Because, that is just a heavy impact. Heavy impact. Now, all 4 corners of that car is gone. That's going to be a long repair. This is Max Verstappen over the radio. So Yuki's had an accident at turn 5. And Max Verstappen was halfway through the lap. Halfway through the lap, Max Verstappen. And this is also the same with Lando. This is Lando's reaction. Sorry, this is Oscar's. He's just said, is he alright? Yep, he's fine. He's out of the car, said Oscar Piastri's engineer. But that is a big crash. Liam Lawson. Oh my god, I just saw the video. Saying, is he okay? Yeah, he's okay. He's out of the car. So, driver's obviously worried about how big of an accident that was. And somehow Yuki Tsunoda walks away from that after a hefty accident at turn 1 and turn 2 for Yuki Tsunoda, we've got 12 and a quarter minutes of this session remaining. Alex Albon, 16-0, that fastest lap. In terms of qualifying form, China, 3rd, Japan, 2nd, Saudi Arabia, 10th. So, of course, that was when he had his accident at Saudi. China, 2nd, Japan, 5th, Bahrain, 2nd, and Saudi, 3rd for George Russell. So, not too bad in terms of qualifying form for Lewis Hamilton, though. It was 5th and 8th and 9th in Bahrain, 7th in Saudi. So shows how demolishing most of these circuits that we've gone to is. Now the estimated time of Q1 resumption, 4:20 local time. That's not too far away. That's actually 60 seconds away. So that's, of course, that's just estimated. 6th for Leclerc, 4th in Japan, 3rd in Bahrain, 4th in Saudi as well for Leclerc. So not too bad. But for both Ferraris, they're struggling for a bit of their pace here. 16-1, the fastest lap from Alex Albon, followed by Alonso, Hamilton, Sainz, Leclerc, Bortoleto, Stroll. And that is that on the back? No, that's not on the... I thought that was on the circuit then. I was about to say. Anyways, that's not on the circuit. Not to worry. Alex Albon, the fastest lap from Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, Leclerc, Bortoleto, Stroll, Behrman, Hulkenberg, Ocon. Top 10 have done a lap, and that's separated by less than a second. Ocon's done a 17-0, Albon 16-1. Now, this session, I'm going to just about guess that there is going to be most likely faster times. Now, do you throw on a new set of soft rubber for people like Max Verstappen, or do you want the thing is, do you want to throw on a brand new set of soft rubber for Max Verstappen when you've taken 50% of the energy out of it? Is there really any point? I to be honest, I don't really see the point in using the same set of rubber. It would be annoying. It definitely will be annoying, but there's really not much you can do about it with a red flag. Now, the radio message that I heard, I thought it was going to be the radio message that we heard from Max Verstappen. I thought was going to be the reaction of how he didn't actually get that time in before the red flag. That will be quite annoying. It's on Max Verstappen's head, but not much you can do about that. Drivers waiting patiently there to head out onto the circuit and get a lap in for people like Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Antonelli, Hadjar, Russell, Lawson, Gasly, and Colapinto. So green light about to be on at the end of the pit lane here. 12 minutes and 13 seconds to go. Green light is on at the end of the pit lane, and Colapinto heads out. These next few laps are going to be definitely quite important. So it wasn't clear to Colapinto that there was a green light. I thought it was... So Colapinto just said over the radio, I thought it was an exit out of the pit lane. And the engineer just said there wasn't clear, sorry. So a bit of miscommunication there between Colapinto and his engineer over the radio. But The next 11.5 minutes will be quite important for everybody out there, including Alex Albon, Fernando Alonso, or even Max Verstappen. On board here with Max Verstappen, waiting patiently in the pit lane to get going. See there, this is Isaac Hadjar making his way up through the top part of the circuits, through the hairpin and the outside. Of course, Isaac Hadjar, the only driver on the grid that has ever been knocked out in Q1. The only driver on the grid that has ever been knocked out in Q1. Just under 10 minutes to go here in this session. Isaac Hadjar is about to start his lap as he will make his way up to turn 2. Makes his way into turn 1. Now makes his way up into turn 2, into Volante and then Tamburello. Very tricky circuit to get right. Now, for most drivers already, it's been a struggle to keep the tyres alive for the whole lap. And for most teams, they died off by the time you hit Acqua Minerale. So that's the struggle with the soft compound tyres here. As Hadjar hits Acqua Minerale now, see what this second sector is like. Of course, that first sector only 0.003 off Alex Albon. For Isaac Hadjar, he's only 1,000th off Alex Albon in that second sector. He now makes his run back down into Ravazza. Means way just out of Varian Alta. And then now into Ravazza, Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2. Makes his way out the other side. And into turn 19, 7th gear. And that is P3 for Isaac Hadjar, 1:16.253. Ollie Behrman on a lap. Behrman's first sector here, not as strong as what Albon's is, but it's less than a tenth separating the top 4. Alex Albon has just improved that time, 16.123. It keeps him at the top now for a bit longer. Gasly, personal best the first sector. Behrman up by nearly 7 tenths. He's 5,000ths off Alex Albon in that second sector. It's a really good second sector, to the point where it might put him to the top. Carlos Sainz to the top now, 15.987. Good luck. We saw 14 in practice. Gasly, second sector, 0.2 off of Carlos Sainz. Behrman lost about a second in that last sector. Not good enough. Pierre Gasly, he's up on his lap at this point. Personal best, first, second sector. So is Kimi Antonelli. Personal best, first sector. Gasly, what does he do as he comes around turn 19? It is to the top, a 15.937 by 5,000ths. Good job from the Alpine. Kimi Antonelli, he's 7,000ths up on Pierre Gasly as he runs through Varian Alta and makes his way down into Ravazza. Now, George Russell is making his way up towards Acqua Minerale. Verstappen, purple first sector. Antonelli, at this point in time, is going to go to the top. Fernando Alonso to the top, 15.695. Verstappen is on a stonking lap time. He's nearly half a second up on Alonso. Antonelli, 30, lost a bit of time in that final sector. George Russell, personal best first and second sector. Verstappen has not set a time yet. The knockout, Verstappen, Piastri, Verstappen is out at the moment, but he's about to cross the line. Russell, second, 15.852. Nearly 1.2 seconds faster than his last lap. 1.9 seconds up. Verstappen, 15.175 on that lap. He's gapped Alonso by nearly half a second. They're already nearly into the 19. They're already nearly into the 14s here. Hamilton is up, and so are the two Papaya McLarens. What can Piastri do? 49.8 to the second sector. He only does a 50.0. This is not going to be a good enough lap. It's going to be about second for the two Papaya McLarens. Norris only goes to fifth. He's about half a second off. That's not good enough. Will that put him in though? Piastri, what's this lap going to be? He might have taken a bit of the energy out of that tyre before the red flag. Unless that is not the same set of tyres. What does Piastri do on this lap? To P2, 0.3 of a second off. That's a 15.5 flat for Piastri. Still 0.3 off the pace on that lap. But Max Verstappen, a bit of pace early on. 15.175. The top 10 separated by 0.94. Crazy tight margins. Crazy tight. And the field is top 16 separated by 1.3 seconds. Now, the reason why we say that is because P16 downwards gets eliminated. Tsunoda already eliminated here out of this session. All four corners of that car is gone. Will not be making his way back out there. I can tell you that much. And Albon, he's P10 at the moment, 0.9 off the pace. He's done a 16 something. This is Piastri. Oh, sorry, that's Lando getting sideways, heading through the hairpin. That's a tosser. That's a toaster at the hairpin, so he lost a bit of time. So that's the reason why he's actually down in P7 there. So he's kicked up a bit of dust. That's the same thing with Oscar as well. So the two Papaya McLarens, the reason why they weren't able to find any time is because they lost it all at the hairpin. This is Leclerc getting real sideways. Coming out of Variant Alta. This is Lance Stroll, P12. He's through turn 9. That's Peratella. Had a bit of a mistake through there. Piastri's still out on the circuit. At the moment, the only person that's actually out on the circuit, the two Papaya McLarens. Now, the knockout projected time is going to be one more time, enough time for another one lap. 15.9, the projected knockout time. So if you're doing anywhere further down than a 15.9, you are going to be knocked out. Lando Norris, not safe. Gasly, not safe. Russell, pin the nose from the tail, might be safe. Might. Just. But everybody from Gasly down is not safe. So everybody needs to improve, except for probably Max Verstappen. I reckon Max Verstappen is safe. I reckon Max Verstappen here is safe on this lap time. A 15.175 and the projected knockout time of a 15.9. It's safe enough. That is the kick Sauber. Essentially, that was a big impeding from Sauber. So, Sauber sent her car out a bit too late and nearly ran in. Antonelli nearly ran into it. Now, this is risky. Verstappen, in. I reckon Verstappen stays in here. I reckon bank it for Verstappen. I reckon he's safe. 15.175. Plays a 15.4 from Piastri. You might just get through here. I reckon Verstappen will get through maybe 5th or 6th. I reckon park the bus for Max Verstappen. Peter Sauber on screen. Hoping that the two kick Saubers can get through in this session. The two Ferraris, not safe. They are not safe at all. They've done a 16.0. The knockout time of 15.9. Gabriele Bortoleto starts his lap. The final lap for the kick Sauber as he makes his run down into turn 6 and turn 7. That is the Viante and Villeneuve. Bortoleto up in that first sector. Not as close. He's just come out of Tosa into turn 9. This is Piratella. And then make your way up through Aqua Minerale. blue flag being shown there to the Alpine. He moves out of the way. The two kick Albers are improving personal bests, but will this put them through? 15.9 is the time. Gabriele Bortoleto is up. He's up and he's up on quite a good time here. He's 0.1 off of Max Verstappen. He's faster than practically anybody in that second sector. Liam Lawson owns the second sector, by the way. Gabriele Bortoleto. So Liam Lawson at this point owns the second sector. Where's Liam Lawson? He's P15. Gabriele Bortoleto in that second sector is the quickest so far. He's just in. Just at this point. Gabriele Bortoleto. Oh, Hülkenberg made a bit of a mistake coming out of Ravazza 2. This is a problem. Unsafe release for Nico Hülkenberg. He's down in P17. He doesn't improve. He does a 16.981. Meanwhile, Verstappen and Piastri think they are safe. There is no time now to do another lap for those two. Absolutely no time. They think they're safe. I reckon they are. Bortoleto's just in here at this point. 1.1 seconds off the pace. He's up. Let's see what Ocon can do here. He's up on Bortoleto's time. What's the lap? It's only P18. He doesn't improve. What does Behrman do? Behrman... Oh, there's a yellow flag out somewhere. Big crash from one of the Alpines. Big crashing in the wall from Franco Colapinto. Colapinto in the wall. The Alpine of Colapinto in the wall. Stroll qualifies in through on mediums. P4. And Behrman just gets through. Behrman just through there. P10. Now, was that lap counted? Was that lap actually counted there from Behrman? But a big crash. That's through turn 4. So turn 4. At Tamburello, he's fumbled it and he's in the wall. Right front suspension gone on the Alpine. So mistakes galore happening to drivers out there. And Franco Colapinto is out of qualifying. Both front ends of the car are destroyed. The car will not be getting back out there for the rest of qualifying. He's caused the red flag and he can no longer take any part in qualifying. But what disappointment for Colapinto, who was actually into Q2. Colapinto was into Q2. Hamilton qualified by 0.1. He qualifies for Q2 by just 0.1 of a second. Both Ferraris are outside the top 10. This is worrying for both Ferrari cars. But for Red Bull and McLaren, they're looking strong. Looking strong indeed. But Behrman just scraped him by the tip of his fingernails. Let's take a look at here what happened with Franco Colapinto. This is through turn 2. This is turn 2. So he's come off and dipped it in the dirt. And big hit. Big hit. So he's come out of Tamburello and absolute disappointment from Colapinto. Dipped the rear wheel. That car was long gone. In the fence. Bang. And in the Armco fence. So it's going to be a bit of signage replacement after qualifying here. But that's not much you can do about that one. Red flag. And there will be a delay to the start of Q2. There you go, start of Q2 will be delayed. So 2 red flags here. And one of the rookies making a mistake here in qualifying, which knocks Colapinto out. And it will take Colapinto's fastest lap time away. That's going to put him P18. Colapinto in the race. So, not looking good at all. But Ollie Behrman, good job to Ollie Behrman here because he scraped through at the tip of his fingernails. Absolutely no room for error there. He scraped through by the tip of his fingernails. Verstappen, Piastri, it's fight for pole. Q2 up next. Okay, so still under red flag conditions here at the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix here after a crash at the end of Q1 there. Bit of a delay to the start of Q2. But this should make it quite interesting. Here now being two crashes from an Alpine and from a Red Bull car of Yuki Tsunoda. So 2 red flags in one session just shows how competitive this is. You push it just a few tenths too hard and you overdrive the car just that little bit, you can end up in the wall. Here's Ollie Bearman. So, now that's when the red flag came out. So sheesh, that's when did the red flag? Okay, I think he was safe. Yeah, he was safe. Behrman just got through. Why am I last on the thing? On the board, I didn't do a lap. Now I say, okay. So, Behrman is questioning as to, that's really close. That, you are the red flag came out. I reckon he's safe, to be honest. I reckon Ollie Behrman made it through. I mean, he crossed the line before the red light came on. I saw the red light come on when Ollie Behrman crossed the line. So he was just about there. I reckon he's fine. He had a few seconds under his belt to actually complete that lap. So he's perfectly fine there, Ollie Behrman. And he will be safe in that one. And I'm not that... Oh, God. There's a floating table. Good. That has to be one of the VIP areas. I'm not even thinking about going up in that. Yeah. But it wouldn't be bad for a bit of lunch up there. Wouldn't be bad at all. Of course, you can join the conversation. Hashtag ImolaGP. Join the conversation as to who you think might get pole. The Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, the home of Ferrari. If you missed it earlier, when I was streaming the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, which is, of course, the feeder series to Formula 3. Speaking of Formula 3, this man has got the fastest lap still ever in a Formula 2 car. Surprisingly. Which, of course, Formula 3 and Formula 2 are here. Of course, I'm just not streaming it because, too lazy to. Don't really want to. But yeah, there's still a bit of a delay here, but bit of a session to go by for everybody out there. There is Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson just got pipped out there. It was P16. He was one singular spot of getting into Q2. And that has to, the margins were so tight. It's 0.1 Liam Lawson got knocked out by. 0.1, and to be honest, you can't really do much with 0.1 of a second. If he had 2 laps, he probably would have gone at it again. To be completely honest with you, he probably would have done another lap if he had the time to. As you see there, Max Verstappen. I think it was 0.1 or 0.2 that Liam Lawson got knocked out by, so that's showing just how tight the margins are between P1 and P2. Well, P1 and P15, it was less than a second, I think. I think it was a second separating P1 to P16. So, quite tight. It was less than a second separating P1 to P10. So, it's tight. It is tight. And there you go. The start of Q2 will be delayed a bit more here. So, a bit of barrier repair to happen out there. Bit of barrier repair indeed. So, start of Q2 will be delayed. So, yeah, this gives us a bit of time to take a breather before we head out for Q2. Of course, I'll be streaming the whole European tour next week and the week after, which is, of course, Monaco and then Spain. Monaco next weekend. A tough circuit. Tough circuit indeed. Of course, in terms of other things I'll be streaming the Italiano F4 Championship with that out there, and this is so. Did the red light come on? That looks to be like that's the red light, and that's really tight. There you go. There's the red light. He crossed the line. The timing line is 100 meters back there. Ollie Behrman, he's safe. He crossed the line, And there's still no red light by the time he crosses it, so he's fine. Frederick Vasseur watching on as well, getting, even probably just watching. Failed to reach, Lewis Hamilton failed to reach Q3 for the first time as a Ferrari driver in Miami, so hopefully that doesn't happen here in Imola. A few Ferrari fans, a few Mercedes fans. There is not a patch of grass up there. It's normally full of grass. Everybody's taking up every little seat they can find. Every little seat. Absolutely no room for error. Still delay here to the start of Q2. Delaying ever so slightly the start of the Q2 session that we will get. This is just, it's tense. It's tense. It definitely is. Definitely is tense for each and every one of these drivers. So, lap time of car 87. Ollie Bearman is under review. There you go. So, the red flag there, all the squiggly lines, that's data, by the way. So, the lap time there of Ollie Bearman is under review. So, that's interesting because the red light came on. Now, unless those two red lights came on after those red lights, yeah, it's race control have to look at it from many different angles. It'll be either those lights were correct, but Ollie Bearman might not make it into Q2 here, so there's going to be a bit of a wait. A bit more of a wait to see if Ollie Bearman actually makes it through. Now, it will be quite disappointing if Ollie Bearman will be quite disappointed if he can't make it through. But that was really close. I think it was the same with one of the Alpine drivers as well. I think it was Pierre Gasly who I think he scraped through. It's, from both angles, really tight. Really, really tight. You can't get any closer than what Ollie Bearman did to possibly being knocked out in Q2. I reckon he probably will be knocked out here. Because the video that we've got compared to what the video that Race Control have are two different things. Two completely different things. So it's definitely showing that. But Ollie Bearman under investigation not actually under investigation, but going to check whether or not Ollie Bearman is in or whether or not Ollie Bearman is out. Because he crossed the line as the red light came on and as the red flag came out. So it's either his lap time won't count or it will count. But that lap time was quite good there. It was P10 from Ollie Bearman. And it got him through safely. So that lap time might be deleted. Now that lap time will put him P18 on the grid. So for Haas, it'll be a P18 and a P20 if that does end up happening. But Ollie Bearman's time here will be reviewed. And then, of course, when that time is reviewed and if he is out, then they'll say, and then we'll get this session underway. But it was tight. It was tight. This is Fernando Alonso, who qualified quite well just then. He's 8th in the high speed, 7th in the medium speed, 5th in low speed, and 2nd in the straight. So he's finding most of his time in the... he's found most of his time in the high speed stuff. And in the straights. So he's got a bit of straight line speed under him, that Aston Martin. So not looking too bad at all. But it is definitely looking like to be that I reckon, to be honest, Ollie Bearman's safe. There's no way that he's not at this point. Absolutely no way that he's not safe. The Haas team watching on, waiting for this news to come through. But Behrman's safe. Behrman has to be safe here because Behrman's even watching the screens there, making sure he's actually in here because it's saying P19. Timing screen is saying P19. So it's either he's in or he's not in. He moved up to P10, but it was by the brink of his fingernails. I think the Alpine got through safely. Yeah, it's tight though. It's tight. But a bit of a delay here to the next session. Gabriele Bortoleto is it's tight. It's genuinely tight. Gabriele Bortoleto, he's just in for Bortoleto, so he'll make it through into Q2. Well, the reason why Bortoleto is actually staying in his car is because Behrman might be knocked out here, but to be honest, Behrman's safe. Behrman has to be safe here because he crossed the line before the red light came on. Unless those lights were off by 5 seconds. Those are the other two. Those are the only two things I could possibly think of at this point. Those lights were off by like 2 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds, which is the time that it took Ollie Behrman to cross the line and then for the lights to come on. So everybody's watching on here, especially the Kick Sauber team and especially the Haas team, because Kick Sauber, Gabriele Bortoleto, could be in to Q2 at this point, but to be honest, Behrman's safe. Behrman has to be safe here. Unless race control are seeing things that we can't see, then there you go. Q2 will start at 16:58 local time, so that's not too far from now. So definitely a bit of a delay to qualifying here, but not much you can really do about that. Now, funnily enough, we're running behind time. Qualifying was meant to go from 4 p.m. local time to 5:05 p.m. local time. So 2 red flags plus the hefty delay. There's definitely time for drivers to hop out, go grab lunch from the nearest Macca's and come back. There's enough time for that, I can tell you that much. But I think the nearest Macca's is 10 minutes away from me. I'm not even sure where the nearest Macca's is, don't ask me. Lance Stroll waiting patiently in his car. So to be honest, I don't reckon you hop out of the car. There is no point in hopping out of the car because there's now a confirmed time of when Q2 will start. But the barrier is fixed, which is perfect. We're just waiting for Ollie Behrman for the confirmation to come through as to whether or not he's actually into Q2 here. This is tense for people like Ollie Behrman. Tense for people like Ollie Behrman and for Gabriele Bortoleto, who could be in at this point. We're thinking Gabriele Bortoleto is out at this point. I reckon Ollie Behrman is through. To be honest, Ollie Behrman is through at this point in time, but it's milliseconds. Now, God, he crossed the line and boom, red light comes on at some point. There, red light comes on. He's safe, but is there a certain detection point that is there some sort of detection point that I don't know about? There has to be some sort of that's red light on. So red flag. Oh God. You need 2 different points of views for that. You need Yeah, that's really tight. Yeah, no. That is really tight. That is Gabriele Bortoleto. Now, same year Gabriele Bortoleto is in to Q2, but I don't know. It's tight. Very much tight. But at this point, there's no real confirmation as to if Ollie Behrman is into Q2 at this point. But, yeah, we won't know. At this point, we won't know. We genuinely won't. Bortoleto, they're waiting at the end of the pit lane for the green light to come on. Kicks Albertine. They're confirming with the pit wall as to if those guys are in or not. It is probably a scorching hot day down there in Italy. Scorching. I reckon it's probably humid. It's about 40 degrees out there, so it's not cool at any point. At any point, I would not call that a cool condition. But yeah, that's Ferrari fans there waiting for the cars to head back out on the circuit. This is very much time consuming. We've been now under a red flag or very much a waiting sort of situation for now around about 20 minutes. And the green light goes, it's green at the end of the pit lane, so is Ollie Behrman in? Ollie Behrman's not in, so that's proved to us there that Ollie Behrman will not be into Q2. Green light is on at the end of the pit lane. Ollie Behrman is not through into Q2, and we can finally get some action out on circuit. The green light is on at the end of the pit lane. And this now all comes down to who gets through to Q3. It feels like forever since we've actually had Q1. Q1 was nearly 30 minutes ago. Close to, or if it was nearly 30 minutes ago. But that's, I don't know. Alright, there has to be some sort of other detection point that, it's rough. It's rough to think that you're in, but then you're not in. So that's why Kick Sauber were quite confident at that for waiting at the end of the pit lane. But there's ultimately nothing really you can do much about that in that situation. But a Kick Sauber car is through. Gabriele Bortoleto through into Q2, but you've now got 13 minutes to decide who gets to the top 10, and then the top 10 will fight for pole. We'll get the Pirelli pole position. These laps will be quite critical because there's been plenty of red flag time. Hopefully we don't have any more red flag time here because, I tell you this much, it wouldn't be good. Max Verstappen has had 43 career poles to his name. Can he make it his 44th career pole? He starts his lap now and makes his way up into turn 2, which is practically, on this circuit, turn 1. Ferrante and then into Tamburello and out the other side. Car stays stable. Always good. Haven't seen much of cars being stable here. Turn 6, where we saw Yuki Tsunoda have his big accident and makes his way up into the hairpin of Tosa. That first sector, I'm not sure what that first sector number was. Makes his way now into Piratella. Hit apex on the left-hand side. Uses a bit of the ripple strip on the out-hand side. Turn 10, 300 kilometers an hour, 290 to be exact. Turn 12 of Aqua Minerale. Then this is Volante Alta. Turn 14, turn 15. Someone else has gone purple here to the first sector. That might be one of the McLarens. That is a Mercedes moving out of the way. Turn 17. This is into the two Ravazzas. Leclerc has gone purple to the first sector. Both McLarens have not started their lap, so my fault there. Verstappen, 15.4. That's a good lap. 0.2 off what we saw in Q1. 50.2 to that second sector. Not as fast as what Verstappen did for Charles Leclerc. He's made his way now out of Volante Alta. Here, the home of Ferrari. We're going to see if Leclerc goes to the top here, the Italian fans will go crazy. Purple first sector, personal best second sector. It's not looking as quick. Someone else has gone fastest. That might be one of the papayas. P2 for the Ferrari car. The Italian fans will be happy with that. 15.4 plays a 15.6. Antonelli, P9. Sorry, not P9. He hasn't even done his lap yet. Antonelli comes through Volante Alta now for Antonelli. George Russell's just gone fast to the first sector. Personal best to the second sector. Nice personal best to the first sector. Meanwhile, Kimi Antonelli is around about 0.2 off Verstappen at this point in time. The Italian driver, what can he do? He made his way up through the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine and F4 Italian. He goes P6.7 off. George Russell and Lando Norris are really quick at the moment. What does Norris do as he's actually making his way through at the moment? George Russell, P2. What does Norris do on this lap? He makes his way through the final few corners. What's this lap? P1, 15.261. Piastri, he's currently going through on his lap. Personal best first sector. We'll see what the second sector's like. That's right after Aqua Minerale and before he hit Volante Alta. See what the second sector's like at the timing. 0.1 up, purple to the second sector. Verstappen's come straight back into the pits. Smart. Piastri, what's this lap? Carlos Sainz is also on a lap as well. And so is Colapinto, who's also on a lap. What does Carlos Sainz do here into that second sector? He's approaching Aqua Minerale. Out of the last Ravazza for Piastri. What's this lap? To the top, 15.241 from Oscar Piastri. That is 2.2 milliseconds off Max Verstappen and what he did in Q1. We're 2 milliseconds off the time there. And now McLaren have shown 100% pace. It's now McLaren 1-2 and Verstappen in behind. And 0.2 back is George Russell. Carlos Sainz, he's heading through the last Ravazza. And personal best first and second sector. What's this lap like? P9. P9. Now, the knockoff time is Kimi Antonelli. He's in P10, and he's done a 16 flat. The knockout time, I reckon, will be a 15.7. The 15.7 will not make it, will not put you through. Alex Albon, this, absolute sideways moment there for Alexander Albon. Got to the power too early, and he got a bit too cocky and made his way out onto the gravel. Piastri has come, he's making his way back to the pit lane now, makes his way through Volante Alta. Everybody's in the pits at the moment, so everybody throwing on a new set of soft compound tyres and will head back out for that important run to get through into Q3. 7.5 minutes to go. Let's see who qualifies. Who would have thought there is 4.9 kilometers of circuit around here, and the top 10 is separated by less than a second. So what that means is that out of 4.9 kilometers, the whole field can be separated by 0.8 of a second. And Kimi Antonelli is 2/1000ths off getting knocked out here. So, my lord, if you don't call that tight, then I don't know what else you would. Because that is the definition of a tight margin. Pierre Gasly, he's 2/10ths off Antonelli. Just needs to find half a second and he can be safe. 6/10ths and he'll be safely through. 6/10ths and he's safely through, I reckon. Maybe more. It gets tighter and tighter. Final elimination session. Isaac Hadjar is in P7. He's not safe. Piastri and Norris are safe. The two McLarens are safe, I reckon. But from about Hamilton, Leclerc down, the two Ferraris are not safe, I reckon. To be honest, the two Ferraris probably aren't safe. But the top three, you might be good. Pierre Gasly making his run through. This is through the chicane of Varante Alta and having a bit of a sideways moment. And this is heading down into the first Ravazza. And through the second Ravazza now. And nice job by the Aston Martin. So, what's the name of the smart guy in the Aston? I'll remember him. A few jokes coming through from the Alpine radio. But for Piastri, at this point, he's on provisional pole. It looked like Verstappen had the pace. Verstappen still does have the pace, to be honest. He probably still does. But for Verstappen, I'd probably head out on a used set of softs. Don't bother about wasting a new set of softs, because if you're going to waste it, then there's really no point. There's really no point in heading out in Q3 then. 7/10ths. You'd have to be crazy to find 7/10ths. But it's unbelievably tight that you probably could be knocked out at this point. You probably could be. In terms of trying to get into the top 10, then for most of these drivers, you're gonna use all your soft tires here. It's most likely going to happen. But everybody comes back out now on a brand new set of Pirelli soft compound tyres. Max Verstappen, as I was saying there, he comes out on a used set. There is no point in wasting a brand new set of soft rubber for a lap that might get you through. With the margins that it is, you never know at this point. You never know as to whether or not you're into Q2 or not. You see there, Lance Stroll using a set of medium compound tyres. So Lance Stroll thinks, well, I think that's Lance Stroll. Now the projected knockout time, I was saying it was a 15.8. It's saying it's a 15.6. 15.6. Who's on a 15.6? I see. Oh, we've got Leclerc. So everybody under Leclerc is not safe at this point, and probably not Verstappen. Verstappen, that lap will put him 8th. If everybody improves, everybody under him improves, then that will put him 8th. So that time will actually put him safe there. But for the two McLarens, they're safe. Yeah, and they're safe by 0.4. They're safe by 0.4. There's no point in heading out of the pit lane. Stay in, because the two McLarens are safe here by every point. Every single point. But that's not exactly what you'll be wanting there for people like Stroll, Gasly, Albon, Bortoleto. This is going to be a bit of a tight session here. I reckon Verstappen is safe, but you might as well head out on a used set of softs here. No point in wasting a new set. Kimi Antonelli about to cross the line here, and he started his lap on dry Kimi Antonelli, who used a bit of his onboard footage earlier for a bit of a lap. Let's take a ride here around this 4.9 kilometer circuit of Imola. He comes through and finishes Tamburello, makes his way down through into Villeneuve, making your way up into the hairpin of Tosa. Get on the power, ease on the power. Lewis Hamilton, he's P6 at the moment, personal best, and Leclerc, we'll see what this first sector is like for Leclerc. He's 3 thousandths off. At this point, Leclerc is on to go to the top. Yeah, so he's 3 thousandths off Piastri in that first sector. So Piastri might not even be safe at this point, but I reckon he is. There's no question about it. He's safe. Antonelli, he's improving at this point. He's in P10. He's up by nearly 6/10 on this lap. So his personal best is up by 6/10. So this lap will put you, I'm going to say, it's only going to probably move him up a few spots. It's only moved him up to P8 at this point in time. Only up to P8. Lewis Hamilton, he stays P7. So this lap is not good enough for Lewis Hamilton. At this point, Lewis Hamilton is out. Hamilton might be out here. Carlos Sainz is improving in the first sector. Leclerc doesn't improve either. So both Ferraris at this point have no point in improving. Carlos Sainz is improving to the first sector. He's lost a bit of time in that second sector. Both Williams are improving. George Russell's up into P3. He's safe. Verstappen's knocked down to P4. Isaac Hadjar's P5. Leclerc P6. Hamilton P7. Antonelli P8, who is not safe. Albon is up by 2 thousandths. He's about a tenth or two off Piastri. What does Carlos Sainz do? Purple to the first sector. Personal best in the second sector. Carlos Sainz is in. 15.19 to the top for the Williams of Carlos Sainz. What does Alexander Albon do? Can he go to the top? Not as good, P7. The Alpine of Pierre Gasly is on to knock Kimi Antonelli out. Kimi Antonelli, does he get out of this session? Does he make his way through? Lance Stroll's improving here. So Lance Stroll improving, Verstappen P5. As I was saying, the lap that he's done might put him P8 if everybody improves. Lance Stroll, he knocks out. Antonelli's out in Q2. Pierre Gasly P6. Lance Stroll P13 at the moment. Both Aston Martins are out. Gasly's got the fastest third sector. It's a 15.7 to get through, and he gets through. Lance Stroll P6. Nicely done. Fernando Alonso improving. He's up on Lewis Hamilton. He's up on Leclerc. Leclerc is out. Both Ferraris are out. Both Ferraris are at their home race. Antonelli, all three Italians are out. Both Ferraris and Kimi Antonelli are out. P11, P12, and P13. The Italians are out. So Hamilton couldn't improve for some reason. He might have made a mistake. But Kimi Antonelli, the Italian, is out. Carlos Sainz, though, that is a really spectacular lap. Spectacular is an understatement, but Leclerc for Ferrari is out. Absolute disappointment for Charles Leclerc, who doesn't make it through. Now, both the Aston Martin drivers made it through on the medium tyres, meaning they've now got 2 extra sets for Q3. So 2 sets for Q3 here for both Aston Martin cars. Here, but Gabriele Bortoleto is out, not too far away. Who will get pole? Deciding that next. the battle for pole position. The battle for pole position is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, battle for pole position about to begin. This is going to be really good. Battle for pole is just about to begin. Here we have 10 drivers that have made it through here into Q3, and it's now the battle for pole. Who will take pole on this Emilia-Romagna circuit? This session is, I think it's 10 minutes. I'm gonna take a wild guess here. I'm gonna say 10 minutes here for this session, but this is important, and it's an 11-minute session to decide the pole position. Let's see, we'll take pole. Everybody comes out on shiny rubber of the brand new soft compound tyres that will be used. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting session. This is very much going to be an interesting session here because there are so many people. Any one of these top 10 drivers can make it to pole. Any one of these 10 drivers can put it on pole here. We'll decide who has the better pace at the end of this one. See there, Aston Martin fans open toward that. Aston Martin take pole around here. How cool will that be? Lando Norris. To be honest, I reckon Max Verstappen has the pace here. He just has to fly out this one good lap. He just has to fly out one good lap here. At the moment, Verstappen, he's making his way into turn 2. Lando Norris hoping to get a bit of a banker in, but there's a few cars up in front of him. One of them heading through turn 19. He's coming through the last Ravazza now for Lando Norris. Can he take pole position? He hasn't had many of them so far this year. Can he take one more? Lando Norris makes his way through turn 2 into Ferrante and then Tamburello, and then start easing your way through and hit the braking marker of Ferrante and then into Villeneuve. Then the hairpin, the all-important hairpin. You get good traction out of there, get on the throttle nice and early, and you could get a good run as you run up the straight into Piratella, making your way now up through Acqua Minerale. Exit Acqua Minerale, get a good run. He didn't get the best run, but it was okay. Piastri purple the first sector. He's done a 23.4 to the first sector. These 3 drivers on screen, nice. Piastri, Verstappen, all have a chance to get pole position. Verstappen the fastest to the first sector by nearly 3 tenths. Verstappen has done a stonking first sector. Piastri's gone up by half a second, nearly 6 tenths now on that second sector. Nice, he's not as quick in that last sector. He does a 14.9 Lando Norris. 14.9 from Lando Norris. Watch out for Piastri. He's heading through the first Ravazza and now into the second Ravazza. 25.2. 14.9 from Norris. What does Piastri do? He does a 14.8. 14.821. We saw a 14.8 in FP3. Verstappen, first Ravazza now. He's lost a little bit of time in the second sector, but he's still up. I reckon this will be P3 for Max Verstappen. What does Verstappen do? P1 14.772, the fastest time of the weekend so far. With 7 minutes to go. There's still quite a while. Hadjar is 9 tenths back. What does Russell do? This will be P4 from Russell unless he finds a miracle amount of time. He does a 15.0. Albon, first sector. He's nearly half a second off. This is going to be about P5 for the Williams of Alexander Albon. Carlos Sainz, his first sector, is just about on par with Alex Albon. His second sector is a bit slower than his teammate. But there is a big gap from Russell to Hadjar. There, Gasly moves up into P8. He's 1.4 seconds off the pace there from the Alpine to Gasly, and 1.4 seconds off his Albon, and he's P8. He's done a 16.2. That is not going to be good enough. Pole number, we have 14.5. Carlos Sainz, P8. 1 second off, 15.870. I reckon the pole number will be a 14.5. I reckon it's 14. Low 14. 14.7, not on pole, I don't reckon. Pole number, that won't be it. Top 10 separated by 1.4 seconds, which is the highest margin we've seen so far. But the top 4 cars are separated by less than a quarter of a second, less than 3/10. The top 2 cars, less than half a tenth. That is how crazy tight the margins are. Verstappen, 14.772. Those numbers that I was looking at, I was expecting P3 on those numbers, but it didn't end up happening. 5 minutes, it's going to be throw on a brand new set of tyres and go again. That's what it's going to be. You see the tyres are there ready, but do they have another set of softs ready, or have they used all their soft compound tyres? Have they got another set? He's George Russell. This is probably a bit of a mistake. He's come through Aqua Minerale and just missed the apex, slid sideways. So he lost about a tenth or two. He bottomed out. He bottomed out before he hit the corner. So bottoming out, he missed the first apex, and then as he missed the first apex, he gets too much of the curb and just has a bit of a sideways moment. So that's as he come through Aqua Minerale. That's the 2/10 that he was looking for, or even a tenth or 2. So George Russell's number was on to go 3rd, but he lost a 10th in doing so on that lap. So the numbers don't lie. Max Verstappen, 1:14.772. We're going to get more action in around about a minute's time. This is going to be good. Max Verstappen, 1:14.772. Who will take pole around the Emilia-Romagna circuit? Battle for pole. See there, the Alpine of Pierre Gasly. He's in P10. He's 1.4 seconds off pole. And to be honest, to get a top 5, he has to find half a second. Top 5, half a second. Isaac Hadjar, he's P5. So that's, to be honest, that's a really good spot. Really, really good spot to be in P5 for Isaac Hadjar. Not a bad spot at all. Max Verstappen onto a brand new set of softs, and he will go again. There you go. He makes his way now out onto the circuit. That is Oscar. Oscar Piastri makes his way out onto the circuit. He's got 4 thousandths to find. And if he can find 4 thousandths, he's on pole position. Norris, 1/10. Russell, 2/10. 0.267 to be on pole for George Russell. That's all he needs at this point in time. 3.5 minutes to go. It's the battle for pole position. Here we go. The battle for pole position is about to begin. 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes is how long we've got until we decide who's on pole for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix for tomorrow, the Sunday Grand Prix, as Piastri makes his way up and through into turn number 7. This is the hairpin of Tosi. Fans, some Australian fans down there cheering on Oscar Piastri. Can Oscar Piastri grab a pole position here, or will he be stopped? Previous poles around here at Imola have been owned by Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas and Schumacher back in 2006. The Red Bull team watch intently. 2 minutes to go. It's going to be a matter of everybody's not safe now. Everybody's not safe. Because it's a battle for pole position. It's going to be a 1-lap shootout. 1 lap shootout. It's a 2 lap shootout. Carlos Sainz over the radio. I'm not sure what that radio message was, but it's probably something. Here we go. Oscar Piastri makes his way down into turn number 2, which is the first corner on this circuit. Valente and then into Tumbrello. And then the next chicane. We're going to line the car up for the next chicane, which is Valente and then Villeneuve, which is set up quite nicely. Nicely done, 6 thousandths off. He's on for an improvement. He's 2 thousandths off Verstappen in that first sector. 2 thousandths off in that first sector. Through the hairpin, he was quite nice. Into turn 9 now. Turn 8, turn 9. Into turn 10. This is Acqua Minerale. God, beautifully set up through Acqua Minerale. This car is set up perfectly. And look at that. Oscar Piastri's up by nearly 0.1 of a second. The Aussie's up at this point in time. 30 seconds to go in this session. Lando Norris, he's just started his lap. Verstappen is about to start his as well. Everybody moves out of the way for the McLaren coming through. What does Oscar Piastri do? Can he get provisional pole? Yes, he's done a 14.670. 1:14.670, Oscar Piastri. Provisional pole. Will anybody take that off him? Lando Norris. Personal best the first sector. It's just a tad off Piastri. Verstappen's up 0.1. He's up by 0.1 on this lap here from Verstappen. It's looking good. Nice has lost a bit of time in that second sector. This isn't going to be pole for Lando Norris at this point in time. Verstappen is up in the first sector by 0.1 over Piastri. Norris was 0.1 off in that first sector. Those numbers, he's now 0.3 off in the second sector. Verstappen's not able to find anything in the second sector. Will anybody take pole position off Piastri? Verstappen. Norris comes across the line. It doesn't improve. Piastri's on provisional pole. Purple to the first sector for Verstappen. The only person at this point who can take it off him. Carlos Sainz down in P9. Personal best. First, second sector. Can he take it off Piastri? He's still 1.2 seconds off. Verstappen doesn't take it off him. Piastri's still on provisional pole. Does anybody else have any other times that can take it off him? Carlos Sainz. The Williams has been looking quick. He was quick in Q2. Gasly moves up into P9. What does Carlos Sainz do? P6. It might be. It is provisional pole. It is pole for Oscar Piastri. George Russell P3. He's taken the second row off of Norris, and he's done that on medium tyres. He's taken P3 off Norris. Stroll still has a chance for an improvement, but I don't think it's good enough. Oscar Piastri, the Pirelli pole position. Oscar Piastri, the Aussie, takes a pole and showing the pace that he has. The margin for pole. It's 0.034. 0.034 separates Piastri, Verstappen, and it's 0.1 back to Norris. 0.097 back to Norris. Back to Russell, and then Norris. So Norris had a bit of a bottle on his lap, which put him at the disadvantage of everybody else. But Oscar Piastri takes pole position once more, and it's his second pole this year. He was topping FP1 and FP2. He topped FP3. Lando topped FP1, showing McLaren have pace, and they can put that car on pole absolutely whenever they want. At any point in time, can they put that car on pole? And he did it. And that's all he really wanted to do, really, was put that car on pole position. But good job there from Oscar. Verstappen, he was fighting for his life there. Fighting for his absolute dearest life. He was up in the first sector by nearly 0.1 over Oscar Piastri. Verstappen could have been on pole. To be completely honest with you, he could have been on pole. Good job from George Russell to be up there in P3. He picked up on medium tyres, so not too bad. He had a crack at that, but Verstappen, he's done exactly what he needed to do. He's P2 on the grid. It's going to be the run down to turn 1 between Piastri and Oscar. It's going to be between Piastri and Verstappen for the run down into turn 2. I say turn 2 because it's practically turn 1. Turn 1 isn't a corner. Well, it is, but it isn't. It's going to be the run down into turn 2. Who can take the lead? And will they make contact into turn 1? That's what it's going to be about here. Take a look here. This is Isaac Hadjar. And yeah, so he just ran wide. And oh my god, he's not happy about that. That's the reason why he started P9. So, elation for Isaac Hadjar. Kicking dust. And not happy. This is Lando Norris. Oh, he got into the plume of dust. So he caught that plume of dust there, and it probably lacked his concentration a little bit. Is that all 4 wheels? That's all 4 wheels. Off the ground for the McLaren of Oscar Piastri. That's how hard he was pushing to get that pole position. That is crazy. It's millimeters between the white line, and it's millimeters between getting a little infringement and not. It's marginal. It is very, very marginal between getting pole and not getting pole. Very, very marginal. 0.03 separates those two. That is crazy. It's now time for the post-qualifying interviews. David Yaseki.
Your pole position, congratulations, man, was a mega lap. How was your lap? How was your car? You were the first one for in the second try, and seems that it pays off. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great session, very tough session with all the delays, red flags, and then also the tyres. The tyres have been very, very tricky today. I think after yesterday, everyone thought the C6 was not too bad, and then today it was, real mystery. So the team did a great job, got the car in a nice window. We've been trying a few different things this weekend, and we got into a nice place for qualifying. So the lap was good. I had about 4 cars in the last corner, which didn't help, but it was enough. So very, very happy with the job we've done, and yeah, excited for tomorrow now.
And can you tell us why this strategy to be the first in the track for the last try? You were confident to be fast enough to get the pole?
Yes, I mean, I wasn't thrilled to be the first car on track, but I had quite a big gap in the run before anyway, so it wasn't actually that much different for me. And of course you lose the slipstream going first, but you don't have any disturbed air, you don't have any dirty air, so I think that definitely helped me out a little bit, but that's what we chose to do. I think we've got enough pace to be able to do that and stick to our guns, and that's what we did, so the team did a great job of executing that one.
Congratulations, well done, pole position. Thank you.
Oscar Piastri then, here's Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen, second position. What a qualify. Mega first sector, and then talk us through your lap, please.
Yeah, I think everything was going really well. This softest compound is very difficult to keep them alive around the lap. So yeah, sector 1 was good, and then the tires again fell away from me. From there onwards, like tiny margins, but I mean it was cool. But then you could see George, he set his lap on a medium, so. Maybe they were a bit too soft for this track, and for us at least it was a bit more difficult to extract the most out of it. I felt a bit happier on the medium, but the race is tomorrow. That's where you score the points, of course, so that's what we have to focus on, but I do think that today was a very good day for us.
Yeah, it seems that your teammate had the crash at the beginning, but with your Red Bull today, it seems that you were flying, so we have some hope for another big fight again tomorrow against the McLaren duo?
Let's see. I mean, last race was not really a fight, so I hope that we just pick up a bit of pace, have a bit more of a stable car, and then hopefully we can look after our tires a bit better.
Congratulations. Well done. George, congratulations. Third position. You surprised everyone with the brave choice to put medium compound just in the last try. How was your car? How was your feeling? Why took that decision?
Yeah, we were going for it. We thought maybe the medium tyre would be a fast one, and it turned out to be a good choice. So, of course, a small compromise now for tomorrow, but it was worth it to be back in the top three. Really happy with the performance, very close to Oscar, which again is always a surprise when you're so close to the McLaren because they're so good at the moment. But it was a good afternoon.
And to be honest, everyone was waiting for your lap time. You were the last on the line with that choice. Probably you made the difference in the last sector, and that gave you the chance to be up there.
I mean, it was very challenging because opening the lap, we almost missed the flag. So I was in first gear, started my lap. I lost 1/10 down the straight because I was so close to Sainz. But nevertheless, really happy with P3. I think we could not have really achieved much more today, but ultimately we need to focus on tomorrow and try and get back on the podium.
Congratulations. Another very fast performance.
Thank you so much. Ciao.
So that's what I'd like to call a good performance from all three of those drivers. And Oscar Piastri now will take the pole position award. I'm going to be saying that a lot through the rest of this year. Getting media photos there for Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen, and George Russell. And now Oscar Piastri will get the Pirelli pole position awards. And I can tell you how much his cabinet will be quite full of those Pirelli pole position awards by the end of the year. If he keeps the pace up that he has, he might just be in a good position. Gian Moenda giving Oscar the Pirelli pole position. But that is it. And of course, I will be back this afternoon for the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. A bit later on this afternoon. I'll be live from 5:30 for Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.